two-tone shortbread gingerbread cookies with a brown butter frosting.
Let's see what's cooking. Let's get the facts. Let's see what's cooking. It's time for yoyomax12.
Hello everyone, starting off with a large bowl, and we're going to make the shortbread cookies first. Shortbread cookie dough consists of 1 cup of butter that's been brought to room temperature, and to this we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of icing sugar, also called powdered sugar or confectioner sugar. And yes, you guessed it, we're going to cream those things together until they are light and fluffy. Now you're also going to add in a half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a pinch of salt if you're using unsalted butter. If you're using salted butter, you don't have to add in the pinch of salt. Now gradually blend in 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour and continue to blend until combined. Then tip the dough onto the countertop and then just knead it just a little bit, just to bring in any little bits that might be loose, and make a dough ball with it. Then you're going to cut this dough ball in half. Then you're going to take each half and you're going to roll it into a log shape that's about 10 inches long. Now you're going to wrap up each of those shortbread dough logs in plastic wrap, twist up the ends, and you're going to put it in the refrigerator until firm, about 2 hours, or you can speed that up by putting it in the freezer for about 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, on to the gingerbread dough. That is 1 1/2 cups of all-purpose flour, half teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of cloves, and a pinch of salt. Blend the dry ingredients together and set it aside. Now in a large bowl, place a 1/4 cup of unsalted butter and a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Blend that until nice and creamy. Add in an egg yolk and continue to beat. Then blend in 1/3 of a cup of fancy molasses. Now blend in the dry ingredients a little bit at a time until you get a soft dough. Now you might have to knead this dough a couple of times just to bring it together into a dough ball. Place it on a piece of parchment paper, flatten it out a little bit, add a second piece of parchment, and you're going to roll this out so that you get a square shape that is about 10 inches by 10 inches. Now it doesn't have to be exactly 10 inches, but you should try to get a pretty nice square shape. Once you get the square shape, you're going to slice it in half so that you end up with 2 rectangles that are 10 inches long and 5 inches wide. I cut the piece of parchment in half, and working with one of those rectangles at a time, you're going to place the shortbread dough log that is nice and firm from the refrigerator. Place it so that it's about 2 inches from one long edge, and then you're going to roll that gingerbread dough around the shortbread dough log. And use the wax paper as a guide or as a way to help you out. It's kind of like rolling sushi. You're just going to use your parchment to help you along. Now when you get to the end, if there's a gap, all you have to do is just pinch the gap together, and because there's a little bit of extra gingerbread on the ends, if you need to take a little bit just to fill in any gaps, that's okay. Then I rolled it a little bit just to get rid of that seam so that it was nice and uniform all the way around, and then pinch off the ends to make sure they're sealed. Wrap it up and put it back in the refrigerator. And you're going to put it in the fridge until that gingerbread layer is firm. Take about an hour or so, about a half hour in the freezer. It's going to go pretty quickly because your shortbread log is already chilled. And here is the second one, because you're going to do this twice, of course. Then you're going to slice them into 1/4 inch slices once it's nice and firm. And I forgot to turn the camera on for that part, but there they are. They don't spread very much, so you only need to put them about 1.5 inches apart. And then you're going to bake these at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes, a little bit longer if you're using a silicone mat with an insulated cookie sheet, until they're light brown on the bottom. And just set them aside to cool. Okay, now for the delicious brown butter frosting. That's a 1/2 cup of butter in a small saucepan over medium heat. You're going to cook this butter over medium heat, swirling it every once in a while until it starts to turn brown. Now, watch your butter. When it starts to foam up like this, you'll know you are getting close. It'll foam up quite a bit, and then the foam will come down a little bit. Now, this is when you have to keep a close eye on it because the color will change very quickly and you don't want it to burn. You just want it to brown. So as you can see, when the foam subsides, it starts to turn a nice nutty brown, and it actually smells nutty. It's just amazing stuff. So take it off the heat. You don't want it to turn black, just brown. And then you're going to blend in 2/3 of a cup of icing sugar and a pinch of salt. And I switched from a spoon to a whisk here just to make sure it was nice and smooth. And that is the completed frosting. It's that easy. Take your slightly cooled cookies, dip the tops and sides with the liquid frosting. Allow some of that excess to drip off and put it on a cookie sheet. Now I used a cookie rack to put them on just to let the excess drip off, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And then just let them sit for an hour or so, and that frosting will harden up and it'll feel kind of dry to the touch. And there they are. These cookies are amazing. That frosting really, really makes them. You don't have to put the frosting, but it goes so well with these cookies. I really recommend that you add it. They are very attractive with that two-tone color appearance. And you know, you have a little bit of a hint of gingerbread with each great bite of shortbread cookie. It's a slightly crispy cookie. Now, if these cookies aren't to your liking, I have lots of different kinds of cookies to choose from. So take a look at my cookie playlist. I'm sure you'll find a cookie that you're going to want to make. Go ahead and click right on your screen. Look for the link in the description box or click on the little I. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.